Hey, y'all, welcome back to the Late Night Vision Show. This is episode number 355. I hope that's right. Looking at my notes. Yes,
Yeah.
it is. And we are glad to be back. My name is Jason Robertson, owner of Outdoor Legacy and one of your co hosts right here on the Late Night Vision Show. And as always, I've got my co host, Hans. What is going on tonight, sir?
Well, the ladies in the office wanted me to say this first because
Uh-oh.
they really love all the phone calls. So basically, if you want to buy an optic and you see these shows, you're like, man, these two dudes are cool, and I just really want to talk to them.
I don't
When you
think anybody's ever thought
well,
or said
you know,
that, but go on.
you're
I mean,
right,
we can
but
dream.
but humor me for a little bit. If you want to buy an optic and you're like, man, I want to support Outdoor Legacy and the Late Night Vision Show. These two guys look homeless or homely, either one of those, and I need to support them by my purchase. We would love for you to call if you want to buy your optic from Outdoor Legacy. Give us a call, 877-350-1818. I was and outdoorlegacy.com if you want to order online. I was talking to a guy the other day, Jason, and he was talking about having an Armacite Predator 336. And he's like, have you ever seen one of those scopes? I said, yes, sir. I used one for a long time, many, many years ago. So he was like, good, then you know exactly what I see and how it's going to compare to a scope brand new that just came out on the market. And I said, absolutely. If you need somebody with years and years of knowledge of looking through more scopes than we have a room in our office to house, give us a call. You can rely on our expertise. I'll call it expertise. You're a little bit more humble, but our knowledge. How about that? You can tap into our knowledge to help you make a decision. 877-350-1818. Outdoorlegacy.com. Jason,
I'm going to
we've
say
got
two things.
Okay.
No, hold on. I want to say two things to that. One, you joked about the ladies. The ladies actually want to get paid on Friday, so
That's
they
right.
want you to call and buy a scope. So don't
That's
just
right.
call. They want you to call. That's what they want to get paid. No, but you made that comment about that Armacite Predator 336, and you said that you know what it looks like. What I would say to this is, man, seen that scope too, seen some older than that, but my brain is getting fuzzy. So if you ask me what it looks like, I'm like, I don't remember exactly.
I spent a lot of
I-
time behind
you
an
did.
Armacite
You
Predator.
owned one of those.
I did.
Yeah,
That was the old Armacite before the new Armacite.
that's right.
Got it.
That was
But
old
yes,
school.
the Armacites,
Now
the
that's
old
funny.
FLIRs,
Yeah,
before
the flares.
before that was
That's right.
gone. And oh yeah, we've looked through them all, y'all, and we've looked through scopes that may never even see the light of day on this show. So we're out there testing everything.
We've looked through scopes that have never seen the light of day to come to the market. Actually,
Exactly.
things
Yeah.
that prototypes that never
Exactly.
made it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right, guys, let's jump into the show. We got a good show today. This is something that we are excited about. If there's one thing, Hans and I talked about coming off of SHOT Show 2025, and we said that it was the year of 1280s and 1024s, and that's true. A lot of these scopes are hitting the market, and we are, and I'm saying this is true. We are pumped and excited to review these. And trust me, if this is out of your budget, we got more scopes coming that are going to be more budget friendly. But this is a big change for our market as we continue to see more of these scopes come out, jam-packed full of features, prices way better than they've ever been. And it's exciting times, and we love getting to test these, run these, and then bring them to you and tell you what they really will and won't do. So let's jump into this. Today it's going to be the AGM Evolver 1280 LRF. And we're going to get into this, guys. We're going to show you video from the scope. We're going to show you the scope itself, what it looks like. We're going to tell you what it will do, what it won't do, who it's good for. We're going to tell you what we like about it. But we're going to do something. We'll take it one step further and tell you what we don't like about it. That is one thing that we pride ourselves on, is giving you our honest opinions. And that's what we're going to do today. So I want to bring up something on the front end of this that people have seen the specs. It's been brought up. There's been questions about it. So I want to go ahead and address it on the front end. And that is that this 1280 optic has a 25 hertz refresh rate. Now, there's some of you that are going to hear this right now and you go, I don't know what this guy's talking about. ignore me for the next 60 seconds. If this interests you, tune in right here. So what we are used to in the last several years is all of the thermal sensors having a 50 or 60 hertz refresh rate. I personally will argue that the human eye cannot see the difference in 50 hertz and 60 hertz. I've got other guys who will argue with me that they can see the difference. I can't. At least my human eye can't see the difference. So 50, 60, it really doesn't matter. That's what everything has been for the last several years. This optic is 25 hertz. So immediately there was some concern of like, does that mean it's going to have lag when I'm moving it back and forth, when I'm scanning around in a field or shooting at a running hog or coyote or what have you? So Hans and I had already had this scope for several months. We had this way back into 2024. We'd been using it. We didn't have the specs. This thing showed up to us wrapped in bubble wrap in a box. Okay, so there was no manuals, there was no nothing. We just had the scope. We had seen absolutely no lag, no issues, no nothing. We saw the specs at 25 hertz. We thought that was a misprint. Come to find out it's not. Talking to AGM and some of their engineers, this is way above our pay grade, but essentially with these ultra high resolution thermal sensors, they can lower the refresh rate to increase the battery life and not cause lag. How it works, they explained it to me clean over my head. All that matters to me is what does it really do in the field. So what Hans and I did specifically, I got Garrett involved in this too. He wanted a multitude of opinions. We took this scope and we put it next to other HD high resolution and 640 50 hertz and 60 hertz refresh scopes side by side, and we ran this thing around in the field left to right. We saw no issues. We saw no lag. We saw nothing out of it. Is there something that could be there discernible that your eye might see? I guess that's a possibility, but what I would say is to us, it's a non-issue. I'm going to bring up one more quick point here. There was a previous scope, the previous 1280 that was on the market a couple years ago was about an $18,000 scope when it came out. One of the complaints on that scope is it too was a 30 hertz refresh rate. We sold a good many of those scopes. As you could imagine, the customers were very discerning because they spent $16,000, $18,000 on a scope. Those guys are going to be very discerning. And some of these guys had a massive amount of experience with thermals, and not one of them could see any lag, could see no issues. So we're kind of right back there again today. So that's all I wanted to say on that. It is something that we get asked about a lot. Our opinion is we don't understand electrical engineering and all the voodoo behind it, but it works. So
I think it goes back to the point that one spec does not make or break a scope. And we get, as an industry, we get hyper focused on the numbers on paper with these specs. And, it doesn't replace a number you see on paper does not replace what you see in the field. So yeah, you talked about the $18,000 scope with the 30 hertz. It was never an issue, but we did a lot of testing, and like you said, I was shocked to learn that. But
do you know who this is an issue for? That $18,000 scope in this scope. It's an issue for people that don't own the scope.
Yeah.
That's who it's an issue for.
And
the
probably a lot of people
that and go on. That's who it is. It's not people who've actually hunted.
Yeah, and a lot of people that are complaining about it, I think, are probably people that were never going to buy the scope to begin with, and that's okay. The real people that are interested are the people that are calling in and saying, "What do you see through the scope?" But there's a lot of Facebook fodder, not just about this, but you're laughing at my word or fodder?
I'm laughing because Facebook fodder is the nicest thing you could have said.
I'm trying to expand my vocabulary, but yeah, you know what I mean.
Well, let's jump into this. All right, let's talk about this thing. All right, $6,999 AGM Evolver 1280 laser rangefinder. Guys, I know it may sound expensive to you, but to us, $7,000 for a 1280 with a built-in LRF is just wild to me. That's again, we're coming from $18,000. So fantastic scope. It is a 1280 by 1024 resolution, 12 micron. It is a sub 18 millikelvin NETD rating. It's got a 65 millimeter objective lens. Field of view is 71 foot horizontal at 100 yards. It's a 2.5 power base magnification. Digital zoom goes all the way up to 20 power. It has got a detection range, according to AGM, of 3,550 yards. There is nowhere in East Texas that I could test that, so we're going to have to just go with that. But what I can test is what really matters, and that's what's the realistic identification range of a hog or a coyote or a deer, a small size animal that either I want to shoot or I don't want to shoot at night. What is that ID range? Hans and I talked about this, and we like to be conservative. And I'm going to conservatively say 700 to 800 yards on an animal that size in normal conditions. I think your mileage will vary. I think it's very possible that you can ID 900, maybe 1,000. I hate to even say that out loud. I've never said that about a scope, but it is possible. The image is so crisp, so sharp, so clear. So I think 700-800 is very, very conservative in good normal conditions, probably further than that. It does have a really nice big 2560 by 2560 resolution display screen. It has got black hot, white hot, red hot, and fusion color palettes. We'll be talking about all those a little bit more soon. There are 10 different reticles, 4 colors, and you can turn the reticle off and on. I think a lot of the video that you're going to see, I probably had the reticle off when I was using it. And a lot of times, if I can turn the reticle off or I can get the tiniest reticle I can, I will do that because I'm showing you video and I don't like the reticle to be in the way sometimes. If I'm not fixing to take a shot and I'm just trying to get this video to show, a lot of times I'll turn that off just so it's not distracting. So if you see that, that's what's going on there. Moving along, we does have the LRF laser rangefinder built in as mentioned. It's got an 1,100 yard accuracy on the LRF, 1,100 yards. I don't think you can hold it still enough to hit an animal at 1,100 yards, but it'll do it. This is something that people ask sometimes, and I appreciate AGM putting it in here, and it's what's the minimum distance that the laser rangefinder will work. Sometimes guys are using air guns and are super suppressed and shooting rats or pigeons and things. So it goes down to 10 yards. So about 10 yards is the shortest distance that it will range. It does have a built-in ballistic calculator. So I know that's getting to be a big deal. All these scopes that have LRFs now, they almost all have rangefinders, ballistic calculators. And that's what a lot of guys want for longer range shooting. And this scope does have that. And as always, all the normal stuff, audio, video recording, Wi-Fi streaming to a smartphone app. It does have a standby mode. It has recoil activated video. I'm just going to be honest and tell you that's something that a lot of these scopes have now. Hans and I do not recommend using it. You can use it, just don't rely on it because it's a finicky feature. We have never found a manufacturer or a scope that it works 100% of the time. Yeah. So if you want it, great, it's there. Don't be upset when it doesn't work because it's one of those things that is a lot better in theory. If you want the video, press record and then you'll know you have it. Battery life. Now this is cool. It does come with the same 2 batteries. If you're looking at this, it may look familiar, like a Rattler version 2 from AGM. It uses the same exact battery. We tested this and I got a little over 5 hours of runtime on each battery. It comes with 2. Also comes with a cradle charger there so you can charge them. You can also charge them in the scope via USB. You can use external power as well there. So 5 hours of runtime plus, and you get 2 batteries. So out of the box, about 10 hours. Negative 22 degrees Fahrenheit rating. It's an IPS 6.7 rated. That means it's fully submersible, waterproof, 3 foot for 30 minutes. Rated for up to a 375 H&H. The scope is about 10.6 inches long, 4.5 inches wide, 3.4 inches tall, 35 ounces as it sits with the American Defense mount on the bottom of it that comes with it. I want to make a quick note about that. We'll talk about that some more. But that is a full pound less than the competition of any of the other brands. So this is 35 ounces may not seem light, but it's a third less than the competitors. Has the AGM 5-year bumper to bumper warranty on that. Love their great customer support. Sky and the team over there is fantastic. So if you buy this, you know that you're getting a great company backing the scope. Again, $6,999. Hans,
Yeah.
what you got to say?
So I'm going to show the scope real here. I've been showing it a little bit. So you mentioned the weight. This is the smallest right now in the end of February of 2025, the smallest 1280 resolution scope on the civilian market that you can get. So it is, it's not compact, I would say, but it's more compact than you'll see of anything else. It almost looks like, Jason, it's the Rattler housing with a larger lens on it, maybe an extension on the eyepiece, but it is still very small. It's got the laser rangefinder module here on the side. The knob on top is your focus adjustment. Your American Defense manufacturing mount that is included with the optic. Button layout here on top, the spaced out very well, raised. You'll definitely be able to use it in the dark with no gloves on. Got your rubber eyepiece cover right here, and that is removable, and you got your eyepiece diopter focus. But it is, if you want to take this off and scan with it, you could use this as a scanner. It's got a good quick release mount. You could take it on and off, not have to re-zero it every time, scan with it. This is the only 1280, Jason, that I know that I would recommend that you even could try to use it as a scanner. So that's the scope itself. And if you're wanting a smaller, lightweight setup, but you're wanting ultra high resolution, that is a very good package there. Now, we can just roll this in, Jason, to the dislikes and likes, and I'll start out with the dislike, and really my only I'd hate to say dislike, but my only thing that I noticed was going through the color palettes. You and I don't get off in the weeds and rabbit trails on some of these different color palettes, but we use black hot and white hot. I typically use black hot. I'm a big fan of black hot. I think everybody on the shows knows that you like white hot. In this scope, I would say that the white hot looks significantly better than the black hot. In the white hot, it shows a lot of detail, crispness, just amazing image on white hot. Black hot, I don't think it looks quite as good. So I did the majority of the time run it in that white hot color palette.
Yeah, there is some video in black hot. I know that I got some. I know I also kind of did a roll through on the palettes. I don't know if you'll include that or not. I'm not a black hot guy, so I'm not the one to judge. But I would say this, and Hans, you can agree or disagree. I do think it is. I do think the white hot's way better than the black hot. Right. Easy for me to say because I don't. I'm not eating the chocolate ice cream anyway. But I did think that the animals looked good in black hot. I just felt like you lost a lot of detail in the trees and the background. It seemed like it was kind of whiting out a little bit. But again, I think you can show the video, see it for yourself, what that does. But I do agree that white hot, I always think white hot's better.
I know you do. I had it up against some other scopes, some higher resolution scopes, and the animal in black hot shows amazing detail, like a lot of detail. You can see on a hog, you can see which way the hair's laying. But you're right, the background doesn't show quite as much detail. But other than that, Jason, that was my only thing that I wrote down as far as could be a negative.
Yeah, I've got one small, I don't know if it's a dislike. It's something that's never going to affect me, but I wanted to point it out because it might affect somebody. When you zoom this up digitally, it holds the image well, as you would expect a 1280 to do. But as you get up, let's say you're at 2.5 power, a 1280, and then you go to a 5 power at a 640, and then you go up to a 10 power 320. I started noticing at that 10 power, 20 power, there's a weird, it's not just a grain, it's actually, maybe it is grain. I don't know, but I kind of would see like these horizontal lines. I don't know. It was strange. It's not something that I'm used to seeing in thermal scopes. Then again, these 1280s just don't have a lot to compare to. But again, this was only noticeable when I was at the extreme high end of the digital magnification. And you could still 100% ID the animals, even at long ranges. And the reason I say it's never going to affect me is because Hans knows this. We're not going to be shooting at much more than one time up in the digital zooms, like saying going to 5 power, maybe 10 would be like, well, we're probably not going to shoot that far to need that. That would be the absolute max. We would never, I'm going to say never. I can't think of a time we've ever taken a shot on a max digital base max digital magnification.
I would say the vast majority of people that I know and that I talk to, when you talk about the high end magnification, they're like, oh yeah, I never even get to that point. So that's a very small, it's probably something you're never going to notice because you're probably never going to go up to 20 power on the scope.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention it. It's one of those things I could have gone without mentioning because it's really doesn't matter. But anyway, it's the only other thing I noticed. Now, I want to talk about real quick. Let's jump to some likes. This is a long list. I want to start with, I think, this big one here of the lightweight. I know there's people going, 35 ounces is 2 pounds. That ain't lightweight. That's lightweight compared to these other scopes. We have reviewed a couple scopes here recently that, 30 millimeter tube style scopes, and they're in that 49 to 52 ounces with amount. I mean, you're talking about a full pound more. That is a lot. So this scope is extremely lightweight. It's funny, I was actually talking to another dealer that we're good friends with, and he made the comment to me, he's like, the first time I picked it up, he said, I thought, oh my gosh, this thing is lightweight. And it is compared to the other scopes. And I think this body style and this design is something that Hans and I really like and are happy to see, because every single other 1024 or 1280 thermal optic right now, in a scope, is in that 30 millimeter tube design. And I want to be clear, Hans and I like those kind of scopes. It's really kind of our preferred style, but we like to see options. We like to see variation, and we know a lot of people, especially guys that are mounting on ARs. Some guys don't want that 30 millimeter tube. They want a more compact scope, or they're looking for something lighter weight. I think this scope delivers that. Now, I'm going to sidetrack here, and I am going to say that I think ideally this optic needs to be run on an AR-15, AR-10 style rifle, or something with a collapsible stock, maybe a chassis gun. I am not going to say it is impossible for you to get the eye relief that you need on a bolt action rifle. Anything's possible, but I would say that ideally I would not recommend it for that. I think we have a lot of other good options for that, including a scope that we'll be reviewing down the road, which is the AGM Adder V2 1280 LRF. It's essentially the sibling to this scope, same price, same basic specs and features, that just actually started shipping this week. Just getting our hands on those, and that's a 30 millimeter tube. That's designed for a bolt action rifle or an AR. It's the most versatile. So I would just say that we do like this style, especially for the AR guys that are looking for something different. Hans, I got a few more things, but go ahead. What do you got on your list?
You mentioned the size, which is a good thing. I would say the overall, the image quality, you're talking about 1280 resolution. You're talking about everybody, we've talked about the prices coming down, and this is, whether you're in the market for a 1280 scope or not, you should be at home doing jumping jacks right now because of what this does. And if you got a 1280 scope with a laser rangefinder for $7,000, that means it's going to compress the other price ranges and the other scopes. And you're already seeing it. You're seeing 640 resolution under $3,000. You're seeing quality 384 for, now getting under $2,000. You've got a 256 resolution scope under $1,000. That is a very good optic for the right person. So, I mean, this is the movement that everybody wants to see, and guys may be at home and said, since SHOT Show, all you've done is reviewed expensive scopes. And that's true, but that's the order in which these are coming from the manufacturers. So we're getting and testing them for you. But the 1280 coming out at $7,000 with legit 1280 resolution in a compact form, for guys that are trying to maintain maybe a lightweight setup, rifle and scope included, and not have to go out there with a 15-pound rifle and scope. I think that along with the battery life and the batteries that included all the the American Defense mount we've talked about all the time with AGM, how they do go I would say above and beyond with their features and accessories. The last thing I want to hit on is not necessarily directly related to the scope, but it's the AGM customer service. And we've talked about it quite a bit and how responsive they are. I think what bothers people the most when it comes to some customer related things is just not having great communication. When our customers, Jason, call Outdoor Legacy, they expect to be to get a call back. If they leave a message with one of the girls in the office, they expect to get a call back in a reasonable amount of time. And we do that. I think when it comes to customer service with the customers working directly with the manufacturers, I think if the communication is good, I think that solves a lot of problems. And I will say that AGM has very good communication. Not only is their tech support very good, and their helpfulness, but I think their communication back and forth, you hear really nothing but very, very positive things. So I think that what you're seeing now is AGM saying, you know what, we've dominated that $3,000 and under price range for a while. We want to show you that we can do more than that. And you got two 1280 optics from AGM coming out in the same calendar year in two different form factors. I think they're just kind of flexing their manufacturing muscle right now, if I could say that, but those are some likes that are incorporated into the whole experience, but an overall fantastic scope at a good price. And we've already sold. I mean, Jason, we were pre-selling these before people had even seen it, before they'd even seen video of it. So it tells you how much, people want to get into, guys that have had 640s. The natural progression from there is, I want to get 1280. The guys that are at 384 right now, they're saying, I want to get 640. So it is. There's momentum upward right now, and it's great to see.
So, agree with all that. Great points on AGM and what they're doing. And I want to say a couple quick things. I'm just going to, again, things I scratched down on my likes. Obviously, the laser rangefinder, the ballistic calculator. It's not something Hans and I use, but I know it's a big deal to a lot of people. So I am glad that all that is in there. I think the big display screen, clearly the market is moving to these 2560 display screens. I want to make the note, and a lot of people know this, but some people don't. It's not just that it's a higher resolution and it stays the same size. It's that these displays are physically larger. So when you look into there, rather than kind of looking down this tube at this little screen, you're getting a big screen right there in your eye. So really like that as well. I think that the image quality, it goes without saying. I mean, if this didn't have good image quality, we wouldn't be reviewing it, all right? But there's a wow factor to this. And I'm going to say this, and I've been getting this question a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, and it's a good logical question to ask. And it is, listen, we've got a lot of 1020, not a lot, that's not fair. We've got some 1024 scopes on the market, 2 or 3. Is this 1280 image better? We're only talking about, 260 pixels or whatever. Is that really noticeable or not? And I wasn't sure what the answer was going to be until we were able to, get our hands, which we have, like I said, we've seen this unit for several months now. And the answer is yes. With this unit, I can't say this is true for all 1280s that are ever going to come out or that we haven't seen. But for this unit, I absolutely believe there is a sharpness, a crispness. How do you say that word? Crisp. It's crispy. How about that? I can say that. It's more
Crispness.
crisp. How about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, more
I
crisp
can't say
sounds
that
good.
word. It's more crisp.
More crisper.
Image than what we're getting out of the competition in a 1024. So I do think that resolution is paying off. And there is a wow factor to this image. I mean, I want to be clear. I've let several people look through this optic, people that know thermals, and the minute that they look through it, they go, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And that's what people want to know. Is if I'm coming from a 640 and I'm going to spend this money, is it going to be one of those things where I get it and I'm like, I don't know, I guess it looks better? No, there's a wow factor here.
Yeah.
Now, I think you can also hope for too much. I think
Yeah.
you could, you know what I mean? I mean, I think you could set unrealistic expectations, but I'm telling you, if you know thermals and you put your eye behind this and you say that this isn't wow compared to any 640 that's ever been produced, then I would say probably need to go to the eye doctor because it is
I would
really good.
People say, when they got a 640 scope, well, is 1280 is it twice as good? And sometimes that's a hard question, but I would go on the record and saying this is, if you're looking at a 640 resolution Rattler or 640 resolution Adder, I would say that this is definitely twice as good as those.
It is.
Yeah.
It's so good. It really, really is. Hans, I know one thing that's been a question that's come up a lot is this is a 2.5 power scope. And that's awesome. We're glad to see that. And oh gosh, I really wasn't going to go down this rabbit trail, but I'm going to do it real quick. So there is a lot that goes into making the base magnification what it is, and it has to do with lens size, it has to do with focal length, how far they move the lens from the optic, the lens from the sensor. There's a lot of stuff goes on here to get magnification. As you can see, this is a 65 millimeter lens to get a 2.5 power. Right. Its predecessor, not predecessor, I should say, its competition, the $18,000 scope that's now gone, was a 75 millimeter lens, and it was only a 2 power. So there's a lot happening here to make this work. Would we all love to see this as a 3 power? Like, why didn't they make it a 3 power? Trust me, if it was that easy, they would have done it. There's a lot going in. They're trying to, it's a give and take, and they're trying to not take too much or give too much. And so they settled on this 2.5, which I'm really happy. That's better than 2 for a lot of guys. So Hans, the question that I know we're getting is, I'm a coyote hunter. I do a lot of longer range shooting. I may be doing a lot of shooting at 150 or 200 or further, 250, 300. Will this scope do it? Because it's only a 2.5 and not quite a 3. What is your answer to that, guy?
Yeah, I think absolutely at 2.5 power. Most coyote hunters do want to start at 3 power, and we recommend that whether you're looking at a 384 resolution scope, a 640 resolution scope. But when you start at 1280 resolution, you do get more useful higher end magnification that you can actually use. So if you're going from 2.5 power at 1280 resolution. Well, when you jump up to 5 power, you're still at 640 resolution at 5 power. Right. So you still have a long range. You still have long range capabilities. What I do like about the 2.5 to 3 power is that you when you have a little bit lower base magnification, you have a wide field of view. You feel like you don't have as many blind spots when you're scanning side to side, or if you got coyotes coming in. Or if you're hunting in areas, there might be some wide open fields, but you got woods on the sides of you where the coyotes can kind of jump out. They may jump out at close range, and you got to be able to find them and get your reticle on them real quick. I think it still gives you that wider field of view, but it does give you the ability to take those longer range shots if you are, a true dedicated coyote hunter. But I think, where you're going with this is who is this good for? And I want to echo what you said before. If you are a bolt action rifle shooter, or if you like to switch back and forth from AR to bolt action quite often, this is a good optic, but the new 1280 adder that's about to be released may be a better option. I think this is for somebody, and there's a lot of AR coyote hunters out there, a lot of running AR style rifles exclusively, that want something that's a little bit more lighter weight. So if you are a shorter range hog hunter, medium range, some longer range stuff with coyotes or hogs, and you want to be able to have a more lightweight, compact setup on an AR style rifle, this is really, I'm going to tell you, this is the only scope right now. If you're wanting something compact for an AR style rifle, this is the only 1280 you're going to be able to get into. Next year, 2 years from now, who knows? They may be the size of an iPhone. Who knows? But right now, if you're wanting a smaller 1280 to be able to mount on an AR, this is going to be it. Yes, you can absolutely go out and shoot coyotes at long range with it. If your shot though, if your average shooting distance is going to be 300 yards and further, then that's tough to do with anything. And I think there's a lot of guys that come in from the long range shooting sport and they get into night hunting and they want to try to bring all of that with them. And it's just not, night hunting is not designed for long range, 700-800 yards hitting, 8-inch square steel, with thermals. Yes, you can do it, but that's not what these things were designed to do. They were designed to shoot coyotes really at 400 yards and under, and more preferably at 300 and 200 yards and under is really what these things are designed for.
So I think that overall, at the end of the day, what you've got here is a much more compact, much lighter, full-featured, fantastic image quality, 1280 thermal rifle scope. Again, laser rangefinder, ballistic calculator. I mean, lots of options. I'm going to tell you this real quick, and I say this. I don't like the other color palettes, like, the red hot fusion, whatever they call it. But I will say this, and I wouldn't hunt with it because it's just not my preference, chocolate, vanilla, strawberry.
I'm going to start my recorder right now because you're about to talk about that you love another color palette other than
I don't love it, but I will say the red hot is really good. I mean, if you like that. It's not my thing, but what I liked about it is that in the right conditions, and it didn't do this every single night, but in the right conditions, those hogs they were all red and nothing else was. Like a lot of times with these red hots, you get these issues where the trees in the background, or it's like you see the heat on it. It looks, I don't know. It's not my thing, but there was a couple nights when I was scrolling through his palettes and I was like, that's pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
Now, for me, I'm not going to hunt in that. I really wouldn't like to take a shot, but some guys do. They love it. So I do think the red hot is cool. I think that the image, I hope that the videos, I hope that they do this justice. If they don't, I want to say it's because recording videos, downloading them to the computer, uploading them to the cloud, Hans downloading them, Hans putting them back in here, uploading them. I mean, these things have done this. And so I'm not apologizing for them because I don't know what it's going to look like.
You think about it, because you've had the scope, and we aren't apologizing for it, but if this is on all video that you see on the internet, this video went from the scope to your computer, uploaded to a cloud, downloaded from the cloud to my computer, processed and converted and rendered, and then uploaded to YouTube. So think about that. I mean, honestly, and again, this goes for any thermal video that you see on our YouTube reviews.
So with that, I don't know what it's going to look like. I mean, it's going to be good. I know that, but I just don't. You're never going to get that experience that you're getting with your eye up behind it. And so a lot of times people ask the question, is this worth it? And then it always comes back to, well, I don't know what your budget is and I don't know your personality. If you got the money for it, this is worth it. I mean, I'm just going to say it. If it's in your budget, this scope is worth every single red cent of $6,999. It just is unbelievable for what you're getting for those dollars. So anyway, with that said, I think we've given you a pretty good idea of what we like, what we don't like, what we would like to change, the pros, the cons, the who it's good for, the what it comes with, the pros of AGM and their customer service. I think the only thing left is at this point is to figure out if this is the right scope for you. And this is not the right scope for everybody. It's not. I mean, let's be very clear. There's never been a perfect thermal scope made that's a one size fits all, and this isn't it. So if you aren't sure, or maybe you think, I think this is the one. They've described me. This is me. I would still say, if you want to purchase one of these from Outdoor Legacy, we want to make sure that it's the right scope for you. Give us a call. We have used all of the other 1024s and 1280s that are coming on the market, that have been on the market out there recently, and we'll compare it. We'll also compare it to 640s, and you might find that there's a 640 that'll do you better. We want to help you with it, and that's a service that we offer all of the customers who choose to buy from Outdoor Legacy. We want to ensure for your dollars, and I want to say this, you don't have to be spending $7,000. You can be spending $800 on AGM's, Rattler V2 TS19 256. The least expensive. We want to make sure you're getting the right optic for your needs. So feel free to give us a call. We can make sure it's the right one and then help you get that purchase made, shipped right to you. One more thing. If you purchase from us before noon Texas time, which is Central Time, on a Monday through a Friday, we can get that optic shipped out the exact same day. And our warehouse is up in Fort Worth, which is around Dallas, and that is where a UPS and FedEx hub is. So this stuff goes out and gets on a truck or gets on a plane that day, is Monday through Friday before noon. And that's just one of the things that we try to pride ourselves on, is getting these optics out. If it's in stock, it's not something that's going to sit around and we're going to hold your order for a week or two. Now, I won't say that we've never in 12 years made a mistake and might not have done it, but that's not our norm. These things are getting shipped out every day. So outdoorlegacy.com, 877-350-1818. Hans, Garrett, myself, be glad to help you. Love to have your business. You can find Outdoor Legacy and the Late Night Vision Show and Hansetx, Hansetx, on all of the social medias. That's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Hans has got it covered. He's on all those places, putting out reels, putting out videos, putting out pictures. Go check out all of those social media pages. Again, whichever one you like the best, Facebook or Instagram. We're on all of those, as well as right here on YouTube. We would love for you to like and subscribe so that you don't miss any videos.
Yeah, I'm a busy man. I'm gonna start charging you by the hour instead of just
We are not renegotiating contracts.
Yeah, I don't know. Just send you my hourly rate. Yes, this has been episode 355 is in the books. So good job, Jason. I think you performed very well. It's been a good review for us. So we look forward. I'm telling you, I'm excited about reviewing the Adder 1282. So I think that what a great contrast in form factors. Interested to see if there's a difference in what you see through the scope. It's going to be an interesting experiment there. So anyway, next week, I'm sure, I don't know, but there's a good chance we're going to have another review, episode 356. We'll be here next Thursday and every Thursday. So if you need anything, you just want to chill out and watch some shows and you don't want to watch reruns of Mr. Belvedere, you watch us. I bet you hadn't heard that show in a while. All right, it's been a while.
Wow.
All right, y'all. This has been another episode of the Late Night Vision Show. We will see y'all soon right here. Y'all take care.